Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another day of 360 Sports. Today, we're going to be talking all things NCAA. My name's Gavin. I'm here alongside Kenzie, Chase, and Carly. Guys, let's get into the headlines. The College Football Playoff Committee released its penultimate rankings on Monday. Did the rankings surprise you? What are your guys' feelings?
Yeah, so one thing I was a little bit surprised at is they have Notre Dame in this ahead of Miami, despite Miami and them having the same record. And Miami won the game head-to-head against them earlier in the season. I guess just because it was in the first week of the season, they aren't really taking into account. And that's just a problem that we've seen before. There's been a lot of situations like that. But I really expected to see Miami above them, even though they have two bad losses. Notre Dame, they don't really have a hard schedule at all. And the two teams that they did play, aside from USC, they lost to, both ranked teams, being Miami and Texas A&M. And the rest of the way, like I said, was kind of just a cakewalk. So I am surprised to see them in there.
Yeah, I agree with your point. I think it's the problem with Notre Dame is they're not in a conference, which makes it that much harder for them to have a really strong schedule. Like you said, two of the three ranked teams that they played, they lost to. I agree with you. I think Miami should be ahead of them, especially because they beat them head to head. I mean, that's kind of crazy.
I do think that Miami should be ahead of Notre Dame, but I also think that Notre Dame will start to rise above their number 10 spot, just because even though they did lose their first two games, which ultimately kind of put them lower than last year, they were in the championship game last year. I think that they want that again this year, and they're hungry for that position and that spot to continue in the playoffs. So I feel like they are going to succeed in these next few games. So their ranking is a little shocking, but I do think that they're going to play well in the playoffs.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I was personally surprised that Alabama was ranked 9th over Notre Dame. I mean, the committee chair reportedly cited that Alabama's hard-fought win against Auburn was what boosted them ahead of Notre Dame, because their blowout win against Stanford, who was 4-8, just wasn't aligning. But personally, I think Alabama was really close with Auburn. That is 5-7. How can you justify that being the factor to put them over Notre Dame?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to talk really quick about this Big Ten championship game, Indiana and Ohio State. I'm super excited for this game. I mean, besides last weekend where we saw, Ohio State really be a powerhouse. I know they're a really strong team, obviously defending national champions, but I think this is going to be a pretty big test for them. We have seen Indiana. They went on the road and beat Oregon, whereas Ohio State hasn't really played anyone besides Michigan. So I think this is going to be a tough test for them. I'm super excited for this game. Also, I don't think Texas should be in the playoffs, but I do think that they should be getting some more love. I think they're currently ranked 13, but they have they're 9-3 currently. I know they had a rough start to the season, but they did beat 8th ranked Oklahoma. They beat A&M this past weekend, which was a really impressive win. And they only lost by 7 points to Ohio State in the shoe. So I do think I wish I saw a little bit more love for Texas. I know Steve Sarkisian was trying to, beg the committee to let them in the playoffs. But I don't think they deserve it, but I do think they deserve a little more love.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, Texas is a great team, and I think that's a problem with there only being 12 teams. You can only have so many, especially with teams like JMU. They definitely have a case of being with only one loss. And BYU, they're 11-1. Their only loss came against Texas Tech, who has number 4 right now. So it's just hard to balance all of that. You don't want too much SEC. There's already 5 other teams in it, and putting Texas in it would kind of put an SEC bias. But I definitely agree that they're a team that could, definitely could be in it if there was 16 teams or 32. But
all right, let's move on. Speaking of college football, it's been rumored that Vanderbilt has been trying to schedule another game for this weekend to make their case to the committee to make it into the college football playoff. If they were to win this game, do you guys think they deserve to be in that 12 teams?
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I mean, even if they were to get this game and they were to win, so much more goes into making it into college playoffs. You're looking at who you're beating, what teams you've beat in the past, if you've gotten any titles in the past, and if they can make it against Big Ten or SEC teams. And it's more than just a win-lose record. I feel like whether they pull it off or not, Vanderbilt's not going to get that spot. And even if they did, I feel like they would probably fall back a lot in the playoffs just because they would have to beat all these amazing teams multiple times.
Yeah. I think Vanderbilt's a good team. They just haven't beat the good teams they've gone against. There's 6 teams ahead of them in the SEC with Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Texas, and Oklahoma. So there was really not a lot of room for them, even in the SEC. And they had the chance to prove themselves against Texas and Alabama. They just couldn't.
Yeah.
So if they would have won one of those games, they probably would have been the SEC championship, and they would have been in the playoff. But since they didn't, I don't see a reason for them to be in it.
Yeah. Being 6-2 in the SEC, I think, kind of hurts them in a way. I mean, the SEC is a strong conference, as you said, only losing to Alabama and Texas. Like, that's a pretty good resume. But their rumored game was supposedly going to be a number 12 matchup against Miami in Hawaii. That's what I saw. So I don't know if that would really benefit you if you do win that game, because Miami's not in the college football playoffs yet. So it's like, is that really going to help you? Probably not. And honestly, I don't know if Vanderbilt would pull off that game.
Yeah, that was my thing. I said it would all depend on who they were playing. If they were playing someone that was in the top 10, like maybe like Oklahoma, or if they were playing Alabama, I think that if they were to beat one of those teams, they could possibly have a case, but I still don't think they would make it in personally. And also, like you were talking about before, there's already, even if they were to beat an SEC team and knock that team out of the playoff that's currently in, there's still 4 other teams in the SEC ahead of them. And you can't have an SEC, like only SEC teams in the tournament. So,
and just because they didn't make the playoff, I don't think that diminishes like their season.
Oh, yeah, no, not at all.
Season. And I think, like you mentioned, even like a bowl game against Miami or a team that got snubbed, like we've seen before in the past, like a good bowl game, that would be like they get a lot of viewership, a lot of like publicity, and they're a good team. I just don't think they belong in the playoffs this year.
I think the only way they could sneak in there is if BYU loses to Texas Tech, Alabama loses the SEC championship, and if the ACC championship gets won by Duke, who is unranked, which would knock Virginia out of the talk too. So, I mean, but still, they have so many other ranked teams that are at-large bids that aren't playing in a championship game this week.
I think it'd be pretty tough.
All
right, let's move on to college basketball. We had 2 big upsets last night. First, Minnesota knocked off Indiana, number 22 Indiana, and Arkansas, 25th ranked, beat number 6 Louisville. Do you guys see either of these teams going far, or where do you think they'll end up at the end of the season?
I mean, Arkansas is just number 25 in the nation, but they're a team I wouldn't be surprised if they won the SEC, even with how competitive it is with Tennessee and Alabama. Arkansas is just such a great team. They have 2 5-star freshmen guards, Darius Akup Jr. and Malik Thomas. And they also have guard Kevin Knox. Those are 3 players that are projected to go in the first round in next year's NBA draft. So they have a boatload of talent on this roster. And I won't be surprised if they made a run later in the season. So therefore, I'm not really surprised with them beating Louisville. I think they're a very talented team and kind of underrated.
Yeah, I actually have these same 2 freshman players written down. I mean, they're absolutely awesome. Also, Arkansas had only lost by 3 points to Michigan State, and I think they lost by 9 points to Duke. Both teams are also in the top 10. So I do think this is a really solid team, a young team that could sneak up on you if they make it a run in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, Arkansas completely dominated the glass. They out-rebounded Louisville by 10, and Louisville is normally a 3-point shooting team. They were 8 for 37 beyond the arc this game. So I think Louisville didn't perform to their top tier, but at the same time, Arkansas clearly just dominated.
Yeah, I feel like this also just gives them a huge confidence boost, especially because Louisville is ranked number 6. They have a huge program, very successful. So I feel like going into this game, winning this game, this is going to push them further into the next few weeks of basketball. And like you said, they just the simple things like out-rebounding Louisville, which I feel like that'll be an easy fix for them, especially because it's early in the season. It's an easy fix, but I think that'll just give them a confidence boost, especially because they were doing well in close games in the past. So
I don't think Louisville has much to worry about.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about much, like you said, if I were Louisville. But if I'm Arkansas right now, I'm riding high, considering they've shown they can compete with all the top teams in the country, and they just dominated the number 6 ranked team. So,
I think they also have a matchup against Texas Tech this weekend, so that'll be a big one for Arkansas. Again, we'll see if they're able to pull that one off. What about for the Indiana-Minnesota game?
I would definitely say this is a more concerning loss.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a road loss to an unranked Big Ten team. That was a 10.5-point underdog. I mean, just like Louisville, Indiana was crushed on the boards, being out-rebounded 40-25. Indiana scored a season-low 64 points, where they nearly averaged 90 points a game. So, I mean, they just clearly struggled. They went 8 minutes and 38 seconds without scoring a single basket in this game. I mean, there's no doubt you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with Louisville and Kentucky coming up in their schedule in the following weeks, this was a game that they really wanted to win. They should have won. And with them losing that, it's going to put them behind the rest of the conference with some teams that are doing pretty good this season.
Right.
I expect them to finish near the top. I'm not too worried about them, but I don't think they're at Michigan State or Purdue's level right now. I think they'll finish third in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I said I still project them to make the March Madness, but I don't know how far they make it into the tournament. All right. Let's talk about a little bit Penn State football. They thought they had their coach and head coach at BYU, Kalani Sitake, but he ended up staying at BYU. Let's go to the board and talk about potential coaching candidates for Penn State next season.
Okay, my pick is Terry Smith. He played for Penn State. He's gained a lot of respect from high donors and the players. After the game, all the players are having higher Terry Smith signs. At this point, I think he seems like the only valid option that will make the players happy. He just got a 4-star quarterback to sign for us, and the quarterback even said a big part of it was Terry Smith. And in an interview, the quarterback who did sign just said he does hope the future coach is Terry Smith. So I think Terry Smith, although he's not a big name, I think he would do well for the Penn State program.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think at this point, he would be a good option, retain the players that Penn State already has. Obviously, we don't have a good recruiting class for next year, but I think we have a solid team right now.
All the players definitely love him, and the quarterback that Penn State just recruited said he came because of Terry Smith and the relationships that they built. So the 2 recruits that they were able to get, they really like Terry Smith.
Right.
And I think with there's no one really left, to be honest, in the coaching field, and keeping Terry Smith would be a lot easier, even for at least a year. And if he doesn't do good, they can get someone new next year.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I'll go. Yeah. All right, so with Terry Smith already taken, I'm going to go with Lincoln Riley. He's obviously a good offensive mind. He's produced quarterbacks like Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and most recently Caleb Williams. He's a great coach. He's a great recruiter. USC consistently has one of the best recruiting classes in the nation. Although he's publicly denied wanting to come to Penn State, I could see a lot of money influencing his decision. So why would he want to come to the middle of Pennsylvania instead of USC? Maybe the Adidas contract that Penn State just signed could give him a lot of money to come here. It probably won't happen, but it's fun to think about.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Lincoln Riley is a good coach, and I think Penn State needs someone like him that will motivate the players and someone a little bit more aggressive, if that makes sense. I think Franklin was a solid coach, but he didn't the players didn't really rally around him. I think Lincoln Riley would do that.
I feel like he would build a strong program. Yeah,
he's just good at developing players. All the quarterbacks that he sent to the NFL, it's kind of crazy. Almost probably a 10th of the NFL is Oklahoma quarterbacks. So. And Penn State has never been able to do that. James Franklin was never able to do that. He's got every quarterback he's gotten has never really done anything in the NFL.
I agree.
Yeah, and especially because Ethan is so young, get a coach like Lincoln Riley to come and train him.
That'd be good.
But I don't really for him. I don't think there's a lot of upside to coming to somewhere like Penn State. The weather is so cold. The recruiting class is really bad this year.
Yeah,
there's probably a lot more reasons for him to stay, but it's nice to think that there's a possibility.
Yeah. All right, Carly, you want to go?
Okay, so for my pick, I went with Brian Dable. He just got fired from the New York Giants, so he's in the market looking for another position, either in NFL or maybe college ball. He did work for Alabama in the past. He won a national championship in 2017 with them, giving him good experience. There is a little bit of concern saying that he struggled as a head coach in the NFL, but I think that might just be his rebrand into college football, maybe the Big Ten. And I think that some people are worried about his recruiting strategy because he might not be as strong as other contenders. But I think that coming to Penn State, he has a good program and a good coaching staff to back him up. I think that he'll be a good potential candidate.
And
that would be fun.
Yeah.
That would be really fun.
And I do think his daughter does go here.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, she does.
So, I mean, it would be a perfect fit for him.
Yeah.
I know people have mixed feelings about him just because of how he did with the Giants, but the Giants never really gave him opportunity. They never gave him a good roster.
Yeah.
So you can't really base it off that. I know you mentioned he did really well at Alabama, and most like Alabama coaches under Saban succeed when they get a head coaching job in college. So I think I don't think he'd be as bad as people think.
Yeah. And I feel like he would be good to even just like switch it up from going from NFL to college. Like right now, I feel like a lot of people are just looking at the college coaches that are available. And I feel like that would just be fun to bring him into Penn State.
Yeah. I agree. All right. I'll go. Oh, shoot. All right, so I'm going to go with Iowa State's head coach, Matt Campbell. He's been an option for Penn State since the beginning of the process, since the Nittany Lions fired James Franklin. This season, he went 8-4, and last year he was 11-3 and almost got a berth into the college football playoff. He's a really good recruiter, and also he has been a coach at Iowa State for 10 years. Maybe he's trying to look for something new, come to a program like Penn State. He's also the winningest coach in Iowa State program history. I really believe that this is a coach that Penn State could really use to take them to the next level and hopefully win a national championship.
You know, I'm not opposed to this pick.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's done well at Iowa State before. I mean, he brought him kind of back.
Yeah.
He's definitely been a good coach for them, I'd say.
I don't know if like he would actually want to leave because I don't think James Franklin would have wanted to left Penn State.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like a lot of
years,
coaches are wanting to stay where they're at right now.
Well, it's also just like, I feel like it's a money game now.
Yeah.
Coaches are just
definitely.
like, all these schools are just hiring their coaches, paying them all this money to stay. Like we saw that with Matt Rule, Kurt Signetti, other coaches at other places too. So
I'm sure Iowa State wouldn't let him go without a fight, but if I were to make a case for him coming to here, I'd say you'd have a better chance at winning a national championship with Penn State than Iowa State, even though they've done good in the past. It's hard for a team like Iowa State to make it to the college football playoff. They almost have to be perfect or win the conference championship. So that'd be my case for him to come to Penn State, but I'm not sure if he'd take it. Iowa State probably has more money for him.
I think we all agree that Terry could be the next guy.
I think Terry would be the most reasonable.
All right, let's move on. The NCAA released its 2025 volleyball bracket with Texas and Nebraska as the top seeds in the bracket. Did anything stick out to you guys?
First for me, Louisville and Nebraska being in the same side of the bracket. This is going to be an insane regional final. I feel bad for both teams because Louisville and Nebraska should be teams making it to the final. They should not have to play each other in the regional final. It's also Danny Busboom Kelly left Louisville to go to Nebraska, her alma mater, to coach. So I think that would just be a really good matchup, but I would rather see it in like the semifinal finals.
Yeah. I also think it's just interesting. It'll be interesting to watch because Nebraska's gone undefeated and they're setting the bar very high, even for the following teams that are in second, third, fourth. So I think that will be really interesting to see how that game goes down.
Yeah, Nebraska's definitely a favorite. They're 30-0. They're one of the most dominant teams that the NCAA has ever seen in volleyball. They've been on a historic run. One thing I'm interested to see is how Penn State can do. They're going to face South Florida in the first round, and if they win that game, they'll most likely play Texas in the second. So we could see the Nittany Lions potentially having a second round exit just a year after the national championship. But if there's one team that could knock them off, I think it'd be Penn State early rounds just because of their experience.
Yeah, I did write that too. Just they were reigning champions from last year, so I was surprised that they weren't in the top 5 this year, even though there was like really good teams that were in the top 5. They were in a good spot at number 8, but I think that was just kind of shocking from their season from last year.
Yeah, I think they had a rocky season for sure. They had a lot of players like Jess Merzick and a few others that graduated, so I think that kind of hurt them. They're a little bit more of a younger team now. But I do agree with you. I think that they could be a team that upsets. If we win first round, upsets Texas in the second round.
We still do have a core group of seniors that they've obviously been in the championship, familiar with the tournament. And I do think if there was a team that could upset Texas, Penn State could have it. They could have the momentum to come in there, shock Texas in Texas's gym, be crazy.
That'd be really cool.
But I could see it happening. I also think it's interesting to note that Pitt's bracket, their side of the bracket looked so much easier. They only have SMU and Purdue Texas early on has Penn State. Then if they advance even further, you have Stanford and Wisconsin. I think Texas has more of like a death bracket, as people are saying.
Yeah, I think also Texas and especially Nebraska has just been so dominant. And if they do get by Penn State and those other teams, I think they're going to be pretty hard to beat once they get down to the Final Four or if they were to make it to
Yeah.
the national championship. I think they just have so much experience. And same with Nebraska. Like you said, 30-0, Big Ten, which is a good volleyball conference as well.
Yeah.
I think I would have these two teams as a favorite.
Yeah, I really don't see like a scenario where Nebraska doesn't win it this year just because of
agree.
how good they are. They don't, not only do they not lose games, but they don't lose sets like at all.
Yeah.
They're just so dominant. They dominated Penn State recently in the Big Ten tournament, and Penn State never really had a chance. So
Right.
I don't think anyone's going to give them too much of a fight until like the final couple of rounds.
Yeah. I think Nebraska's played on a chip on their shoulder ever since we've reverse swept them in the semifinals last year.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, let's conclude the show by discussing any relevant news or moments around college athletics recently.
So I kind of want to swing it back to college football just for a bit. North Texas and Tulane play tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and that game's going to have a lot of playoff implications with the winner most likely advancing to the college football playoff. They're both really good teams. They have nearly identical records. So I think that's just a game to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Vanderbilt. They got the top quarterback from the 2026 class. He was originally committed to Georgia and flipped to Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt's building a bit of a program. They just hired their coach to a 6-year contract. So a school that never used to be a football school, I think we're seeing something change down there in Nashville. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're definitely building a program, and their coach was a coach that Penn State was kind of lining up. He's definitely done a lot to that Vanderbilt football team, and he's got them on the bubble of the college football playoff. So if they can have a quarterback like that coming next year, they'll be a threat again.
Yeah.
Speaking of Vanderbilt, I thought it was funny. Diego Pavia tweeted on Instagram requesting Donald Trump to make it an executive order for the college football playoff to change from 12 teams to 16 teams.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny.
Crazy.
Yeah. Also with college football, Joey McGuire, the head coach of Texas Tech, just re-signed his contract with them, putting him into a long-term contract until 2032, which I think is crazy because that is a really long time. And that also just puts Texas Tech at such a high standard to continue, because they were really successful this season, to continue being successful for the next few years. And I just thought that was insane that he signed for years from now.
If they end up firing him, that payout is going to be insane.
Yes.
And one more thing I wanted to mention, I know there's been a lot of drama down at LSU because of Lane Kiffin, that whole debacle, but one thing that kind of has gone under the radar is it's officially reached December, and the LSU Tigers basketball team is still undefeated. They're one of the 2 undefeated teams left in the SEC. They're 8-0, and they're the Emerald Coast Classic champions after they defeated DePaul. So LSU Tigers, their basketball team, something to watch out for. They're not usually a basketball school.
Yeah.
And it's such a competitive conference. It's kind of just funny to see LSU at the top of it.
Yeah, for sure. What do you guys think for, speaking of the SEC championship game this weekend, Georgia versus Bama?
I think Georgia's going to have it. I think if Georgia has it, they're going to get actually bumped up to second. And I think the loser of Ohio State, Indiana is going to fall to third.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. I think, dude, I don't know. I really like Alabama's quarterback, Simpson.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Yeah.
I think he has a really bright future as well. And I think, I don't know, Georgia they're not the Georgia team that we saw, what was it, like 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago when they won the national championship.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Alabama could pull off, I guess, what you would say is an upset this weekend. But we'll see.
To be honest, I'm going to take Georgia as well. I just think Georgia has a better coaching staff than they do. Kirby Smart. Alabama's coach, he says he's had all this talent come in after Saban left, and last year didn't even make the playoffs. This year he had 2 pretty bad losses. So I just don't think Alabama's coach is that great, and I don't think the team's very disciplined at all. They have a lot of star players, a lot of talent, but I think they'll get out coached. And if they have, without dropping to 3 losses, I'm not even sure if they'll get in the playoff. That'll be interesting.
If they lose, they're out.
Yeah. But it's high risk, high reward, because if they do win, then they'll beat Georgia twice, and they'll probably get the 3 seed.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I think it'll be a good game because both teams used to be very, very strong. And now this season, even though they have been very good, they're still falling a little bit behind more than they used to, I think. So I think it'll be interesting to see they're kind of at the same level. But I think I'm going to have to take Georgia on this one.
Yeah. All right. What do we think about ACC championship, Virginia versus Duke? Duke snuck in there.
Yeah, this is definitely a surprising championship. And Duke snuck in there. Oh, they have 5 losses. They only have 2 losses in the ACC, which is why they made it to the championship. So if Duke wins, I'm pretty sure they still won't make the playoff. It'll be interesting to see what happens. It's just like a weird championship in general. I think Virginia's going to win. I don't think Duke's very good.
I think Virginia too. Also because, I'm pretty sure they just pulled off like a really big game against Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Even though obviously like, Virginia Tech right now, they just got a new head coach, James Franklin. So like they're probably not in like a really great spot, but it was still like a really huge gap in between their the final score. So I think like right now they're just on a high and they're gonna be able to pull it off.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that.
Yeah.
UVA normally cannot beat Virginia Tech. They absolutely demolished Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
And I mean, James Franklin isn't coaching for them yet.
Right.
But I still was surprised that game was such a large margin because Virginia Tech's normally a decent football team.
Yeah, I think it's just crazy how bad the ACC is.
Yeah.
They used to be really good at football.
Yeah.
And now they've fallen behind.
Yeah,
Definitely.
So I think that's pretty nuts. Also, James Franklin flipping 7 Penn State commits to Virginia Tech is kind of like a slap in the
coaching
face.
staff.
It's a slap in the face.
Yeah. And then bringing some coaching staff, which is why Penn State should hire a coach soon because then they can start to like build their program back up and get more recruits.
Yeah.
And then for the Big 12 championship, we have BYU and Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Who do you guys think wins that one?
This is the one I'm looking forward to the most, to be honest, because right now Texas Tech is number 3, I believe, 3 or 4, and then BYU is on the outside looking in. So if BYU could beat Texas Tech, it would definitely shake things up in the college football playoff, and it might eliminate a SEC team or a Big Ten team that we have in there right now that won't be in there. I think if BYU wins, we'll see Notre Dame get eliminated, and possibly Alabama, if they lose too, they'll get eliminated. So this could definitely shake things up, and this game's gonna have a lot of implications.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think BYU could pull this one off. I think Texas Tech is really dominant this year. And BYU, they're one of those teams that's always good, but kind of like Penn State can't get over that hump.
Yeah.
So I just don't see them winning this game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Texas Tech is going to win this one.
I think Texas Tech's also going to win. I think BYU has gotten a lot of attention right now because of their coach trying to go to Penn State.
Yeah.
And then BYU throwing more money at him and supposedly the Crumble owner throwing money at him. But yeah, I would agree. I think Texas Tech is probably going to dominate over BYU.
Yeah.
I think they're the better. Texas Tech is definitely the better team, but I'm kind of rooting for BYU just for them to be some chaos in the bracket.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah.
All right, that's all we got tonight for 360 Sports. Tune in again next week for more. Have a great night, everyone.